What is going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski and I am back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today I'm going to be breaking down the new units that will be in Thriller Bark Part 1, which is the brand new story mode coming to One Piece Treasure Cruise, I believe on the 29th or the 31st of May. I think it's the 31st of May, which is really exciting. We're finally getting a brand new story mode, moving on from Enies Lobby Part 2, which is nice, moving on to the Mouth Gate, Hogback's Mansion, which is actually the first part of Thriller Bark. There will be two parts of Thriller Bark. Part 2 is actually really exciting, but Part 1, we will be going through some of the new units that you can farm for, and we'll just explain them and, you know, whether or not they're actually worth farming or not. So, before we get into today's video, guys, if you guys do go on to enjoy it, make sure to smack the like button down below, and leave a comment down below if you want me to bring back this series for every time a new story mode is introduced, so I can break down these units to you guys, just so you guys know, when or where to farm these new units that will be upcoming in the new story mode. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight into today's video. So the first unit we're going to be breaking down is the Cerberus, which is found on Stage 2 of Thriller Bark Part 1. Now this unit is a 3-star unit and is a quick fighter powerhouse type unit with 2 socket spots and a cost of 14. Now he doesn't have a captain effect, but he's special, which starts at 20 turns and maxes at 13 turns, will sharply decrease the defense of all enemies for a single turn. Now this actual decrease in defense, we don't actually know how big the decrease in defense actually is, but when it states it sharply decreases, you can imagine it's at least 75% defense cut, I would say. So that's pretty nice. I don't know if it's really worth farming for. It is a decent special, but there are other units that have, a lower cooldown that can, perform similar activities or that are just better. Guys like the Manticore from one of the Impel Down fortnights is very good. In decreasing defense. You got other guys like Cabin Boy Helmeppo, which a lot of people do have. So there are a couple of units that already do a similar sort of thing, but better. So I don't really know if this guy's worth farming for, but if you guys do not have a defense lowering unit on your character box, then you might want to go ahead and farm the Cerberus. But overall, not the best of units, but he's found on Stage 2 of Thriller Bark Part 1. And now let's move on to the second unit. So the second unit is actually really interesting, and I personally really love this unit. We have Tereran, who is found on Stage 8 of Thriller Bark Part 1. He's a 3-star unit, and he is an int cerebral powerhouse type unit, and he has 2 socket spots and a cost of 14. He does not have a captain effect, but his special is really interesting, where it starts at 17 turns and maxes at 10 turns, delays all enemies for 1 turn, and then amplifies the effects of orbs by 1.25 for 1 turn. I think that this kind of special actually isn't really that bad, although his cooldown is quite high, I will admit. If his cooldown was, say, like 5 or 6, no, I think that's a bit too overpowered. Maybe like 8, if this was like an 8-turn cooldown, delays all enemies by 1 turn, and then also amplifies the effects of orbs by 1.25 for 1 turn, I think this unit would actually be really useful. The only thing is, as I keep saying, that cooldown being so high just makes it that it's kind of like irrelevant or redundant, where there are other units like Golden Pound Usopp delays for 3 turns. He also maxes at 10 turns. There's like guys like Mr. 3 who maxes at 9 turns. There's a whole bunch of turn delays that are just better than this guy. But the thing about it is, getting that little bit of an orb boost as well is kind of nice. But overall, he's a very interesting unit. He delays and amplifies orbs. We don't really see too many of those units with combined specials like that, but that is a really cool special, a really interesting unit, and I hope they do expand on these type of units where they, do multiple of really useful things at the same time. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, Tereran found on Stage 8 of Thriller Bark Part 1, not too bad of a unit, better than the Cerberus, but not the best unit in all of story mode, I will admit. Next up, we have the Bearskin Rug, found on Stage 4 and 6. He's a 3-star unit and is a Dex Fighter Powerhouse type unit, and he has 2 socket spots with a cost of 14. He does not have a captain effect, but his special, which starts at 18 turns and maxes at 11 turns, does 13 times character's attack in Dex damage to a single enemy and changes captain's orb to tandem. Overall, not the best of units. I think that he's probably the worst unit to probably farm for in this fortnight, and not this fortnight, this story mode actually. I don't think he's that useful. He does have 2 socket spots, which is kind of interesting for a unit like this, but overall, he's just really not worth farming for. That special just isn't really that useful in a lot of situations, and you can just spend your time farming a different stage for a different type of unit. I just think that he's probably the worst one, and you really shouldn't really go ahead and waste your time farming the bear skin rug. Anyways, I just don't think he's that good. So now let's move on to the last unit that you can farm for in this story mode, which is Gecko Moria. So here we have Gecko Moria, Thriller Bark Ruler, found on the last stage of Thriller Bark on stage 11. Now, this Gecko Moria here actually drops as a 3-star unit, but this one does evolve into a 4-star unit, and when Thriller Bark Part 2 comes out, there is actually a 5-star unit that will evolve directly from the 3-star unit. Now, this is very reminiscent of, Rob Lucci's evolution line and Crocodile's evolution line, where they will evolve to a different evolution once a new story mode will come out. So once Part 2 comes out, there's actually a brand new Gecko Moria that will come out. I'm not going to be covering the 5-star version in this video. I'll just cover the 4-star version. So here we have Gecko Moria, who is a free spirit ambition int unit. So this Gecko Moria is the same as the previous one, is also an int unit. However, it is a free spirit and ambition unit as well, which is kind of cool. Now, this Gecko Moria here does have 3 socket spots and only has a 20 cost, which is really, really interesting. It means that it can fit onto a Sengoku team if you really feel like it. And 3 socket spots is very, very nice as well. And his captain effect will boost attack by 2.75 times following a chain of strength, int, and dex attacks with no lower than good. Basically, if you hit a great or a perfect with attacking in the order of a strength character, an int character, and then a dex character, you will then get 2.75 times attack to all of your units on your team, no matter what their attribute is. So that's pretty interesting. It's very reminiscent of the raid boss Ivankov. The only thing is it's a different order of attacking attributes. But really, the captain effect isn't really what you're using this Gecko Moria for. The special is very, very interesting. It deals 10 hits of 5,000 fixed damage to random enemies, which starts at 22 turns and maxes at 16. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, what does it mean by it deals 10 hits of 5,000 fixed damage? It means that it's going to do 10 hits of 5,000 fixed damage, exactly what I said. So it means that it's going to be dealing 50,000 fixed damage. It's really, really cool. But the thing is that let's say the opposing side has like 4 enemies. It will randomly hit those enemies 10 different times. So 10 hits will be dealt, but it could be like 6 hits on one enemy, and then 2 hits onto another enemy, and then 1 hit on each of the 2 remaining enemies. Like, it's random. But each time it hits, it will deal 5,000 fixed damage. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, why 10 hits? Like, what's so significant about that? Later on down the track, we will be getting specific bosses where they actually have a combo shield, meaning that you have to hit a certain amount of combo hits before you can actually start dealing damage to them. And if you use this special, it will lower their combo shield by 10 hits, which is actually really, really cool for those types of bosses. But this is actually a really interesting special and can be used against Princess Turtles and all of that. I think it's a really, really cool special overall. But the 5-star Gecko Moria, I think, in my opinion, is a little bit better than this Moria. But nonetheless, it is still a pretty cool unit, and I will definitely be farming for Gecko Moria because Gecko Moria is an absolute badass. So that is going to conclude yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to smack the like button down below, and if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, then make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and also leave a comment if you want me to continue this series, with upcoming fortnights and story modes. If you want me to just, break down the units so you'll be able to farm in the story modes, that would be greatly appreciated, guys. But without further ado, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.